Happy Friday. Thank God it's Friday. You guys, Happy New Year. Happy 2024. So excited to be here today with one of my dear friends and athletes for the past 10 years, Cindy Beuermann. And I just wanted to share her journey to becoming an Ironman over the last 10 years, because it really has been a 10-year journey. And we're going to go back to the beginning. But Cindy, why don't you introduce yourself first? Tell us your age, what you do for a living, where you're from.
Hi, everybody. I am Cindy Beuermann. I am originally from Peru, but I've been living in Miami since 2006. So it's almost like 18 years, 17 years.
Yeah, you're a local
Uh,
for sure.
I'm local, yes. Almost half of my life here.
Exactly. How old are you?
I'm 42.
42. Okay,
42.
cool. So when we first met, you were 32 years old, right? So how did you connect with
Yes.
way back when? What was the motivation to start doing triathlon?
Well, I've been always involved in sports since I was a child. My parents, especially my mother, pushed me always to sports and introduced to me the discipline, sports, being concerned about that. So I started as a swimmer. I swim since I was 4 or 5, I think. And then I was part of the Peruvian club, and then I also represent the country as a swimmer.
Nice.
But, yes, so it was until I was like 12 or 13 that I got tired of that living style. Like, I want to be a child. I want to
Right.
hang out with my friends.
Yeah, they kill you in those swim programs. You need
Yes,
the morning and
yes,
night, right? It's tough. Very tough.
yes. So I decided to let it go. But still, always my body asked for a sport, so I went to the gym, do weights and all the stuff. And then with my brother, pulled me to the rowing team. So I started that because all my friends were there, so it was fun, and
Right.
also get involved in a club, and then represented the country and all the stuff.
That's awesome.
So my life have been always related to sports. So when I decided to move to USA, I always look for a gym. So I started to go to the gym, doing like strength routines and all that kind of stuff. And then I got diagnosed with 2 hernias in my back.
Oh, wow.
So the doctor said you can do like sports with impact. So why you don't think about going back to swimming or biking, but don't run because that hurt your back and you have 2 herniated discs.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can swim, I can ride. Well, a triathlon run. So I don't know. I would try.
Right.
So I start Googling about triathlon clubs, and Tachi contact me back and recommend Full Circle.
Okay.
So I contacted you, and since the first day, I got in love with the sport, with the group, with you as a coach. It was going back to my childhood and having a training, having time, spacing, and improving and having goals and everything. But for me, triathlon was always like Ironman. It was like, oh my God, that's hard. But then you told me, no, there is also sprints. You can start with sprints or Olympics. It's not all only Ironman.
Right.
So I just was training. You were always pushing me to racing. I was like, no, I don't want to race. I'm afraid about that. Until I think by the end, I started in May, I remember, and I did my first triathlon in December in Key West.
That's right.
Oh,
Yes.
it was awesome. Yeah, it was an
You fell
awesome
in love.
experience. Yeah,
You fell
awesome
in love.
experience crossing the finish line.
Yeah.
So since then, I haven't stopped. And since the first sprint, then you start growing and want more and more and more. Then I went to Olympic, then 70.3s, then pandemic,
Right.
and is when I lost everything, right?
Yeah. And that's what we're going to get into today because it's just such an inspirational story. So you fell in love with the sport and you stayed kind of short course for a while, but tell us when you got that tattoo.
When I did my first 70.3,
That's right.
anything is possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything is possible. So she was in, like I knew she was going to do an Ironman, but we just didn't know when it was going to happen. And how many 70.3s did you end up doing? I know you did one that, in 2023 on the way to the full Ironman, but I want
Yeah.
to talk about before that, before you really committed, before COVID, how many 70.3s did you do?
The first one I did was in 2017, Miami Man.
Okay.
Then I did Cozumel in 18, then Cartagena in 19, and then COVID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then COVID. Yeah. So, I mean, you were pretty committed. I mean, you stayed consistent year after year. You would take time away, you would recover, and then you would get serious. Like, I just want to commend you for, until COVID, that is, there was no real falling off. Like, you really were dedicated to the sport. You loved how it made you feel. And I want to thank Tachi for introducing you to us. Tachi is still with me. She still does all my Safety ordering and stuff like that. So thanks, Tachi. But I just was really always, loved your motivation and you always brought so much positive energy to the group, right? And you found that out more than ever, after this last race and this last year, that you really had to dig deep, right? To come out of a dark place during COVID. So we lost touch during COVID. Obviously, everybody lost touch with me. No one was training. We weren't necessarily allowed outside, right? So I had just a handful of athletes that were still racing with me, and you reached out to me. Do you remember calling me and texting me and
Yes.
to talk? Yeah. So let's talk
Yes. Yes.
about
Well, when I called you, I was already fat, so I was trying to get out of it,
yeah.
but at the beginning, I don't know, it happened at Cartagena was kind of traumatic, if I can say that, for
Yeah,
me,
let's talk about it. What happened?
because the swim was awful. It is in a bay, but it was a lot of smell of petroleum.
Oh, that's right. I remember that
So
year. Yeah.
I become very dizzy. I totally freak out in the middle of the bay. It never happened to me that.
Yeah, you're such a
I
sweet
was like,
swimmer. Yeah.
yeah, and so I was like in the middle of the ocean, dizzy with a petroleum smell. I freak out. I was like, oh my god, what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
So I don't know how, but I finished the swim and completed the race. It was a very hot race. The bike was supposed to be flat, but wasn't. So I was not ready for the hills. So I was suffering already with the bike. Then when I went to the run, I was like, okay, I did Cozumel last year and was hot, but oh my god, Cartagena is the hell. It's like you run in between the stone walls, and it's like you are going into an oven. I don't
Yeah.
know how to describe, but it was really hot, and I was like, same dizzy. I was feeling bad, but I was like, I have to finish this. I have to. My mother was there. My father was there. My niece was there,
Right.
and I was like, heck no, I will finish this.
We
Everybody's
know you
waiting
knew
for
you
me
were
at
a
the finish
warrior,
line.
right? Yeah, you had to push through. You
Yeah,
couldn't stop.
s-
But
yeah,
you had a negative feeling about triathlon after that, right?
yes, yes. So I finished the race. I was so happy with that, but it kind of created on me like a I don't know how to say in English, but to repeal the sport. I
Yeah, it
didn't want to
repelled you.
swim. I didn't want to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it repelled you.
I was like, I don't want to do nothing related to triathlon. Nothing. And it was 19 at the end.
Yeah.
So I
And-
was, because it was December, the race. So then it come Christmas, New Year. I went to Peru with my family. I enjoyed vacation, but after a couple of weeks, it was like feeling empty. You feel that emptiness of, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't
Yeah,
have
it's called the
anything to do.
Ironman blues.
Yeah, and it's a feeling of emptiness.
Yeah.
So when I came back from Peru, uh, I pushed me to go back to the pool.
Yeah.
And when I was there, it was like, oh my God, this is what I was missing,
Yeah.
I
You just
needed
needed a
this back.
break. Just needed a break. Right.
Yeah. And so I started to train again, but then come the pandemic. So was the shutdown, and everybody, well, at least in my work since the beginning of March,
Yeah.
they sent everybody to work from home. I live here alone in my apartment, but I moved to a friend that is like my sister, is my family here. So I moved to that house. Well, my nieces that now are 11, by that time were like 8 or 7. No, the little one was like 5 or 6. So we were very concerned about the pandemic,
Yeah.
and didn't want to get the kids involved with that, and neither us. So we were completed shut down in the house, so anybody can go out.
Right.
And all the environment was very, very, I don't know, well, pandemic, everybody knows
Yeah.
it.
It was hell.
Yeah,
It was hell.
you
Like it wasn't
you
fun for
watch
everybody.
that, you watch the TV, and always news about people dying in the world. Anybody you talk, it was the theme was always pandemic and COVID, and look, somebody, oh
Yeah.
yeah, he got COVID, oh my God.
Yeah.
And in
Not fun.
all that environment of worriness,
Yeah.
I got COVID.
Yeah.
So it was a moment where you think, it is possible I can die now.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it wasn't about the breathing or the flu or everything, but was the head. I was like, my head was like, I couldn't even move up from the bed. It was terrible, terrible. And it's like, you spent like 3 days, 5 days feeling like you are dying. I couldn't do anything but staying on bed, just thinking, and all your thoughts are, I can die in a couple of days.
It's so
you know
much fear. You just have so much.
it's yes,
Yeah.
yes, it was horrible.
Yeah.
So I think since that moment is when my mental health was very shocked.
Yeah.
So I recovered from the illness. Thanks God it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But after that, it's like everything for me lost sense. It's like, I don't know, nothing makes sense to me. It was like just waking up from your bed,
Mm-hmm.
going to the desk that is still in your bedroom, working all day long because it's the only thing you have to do,
Yeah.
and then close the computer, it's night, and go back to bed. That was my life.
Yeah.
And no, couldn't think about going to the streets because I got afraid of the streets and getting again the illness. So yeah, it's when everything lost sense.
Yeah. You wanted to
It's-
protect your family, so you didn't want to risk going out, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So at that point, what was your nutrition like? Because I remember when you reached out to me, we initially had a different nutrition program than we ultimately had when you're doing Ironman because you weren't training, right? You weren't training.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that because for me, nutrition helps your mental health. Okay.
Yes. Well,
Big.
yeah, nutrition was nothing. You ate whatever I was eating, whatever I got, eating all day long, anything, chips, chocolate, uh, alcohol, wine, beer. It was like something part of the day.
Yeah.
So I started to obviously gain weight. I think I contacted you already by the end of the year.
Yeah,
When I was feeling so bad already with myself, because I felt depression, I felt sadness. I was fat, I wasn't able to do sports, I wasn't able to go out. My life was just sitting all day long working, and was like, dude, I have to do something,
it was
you
like a
know?
spiral, right? It was like a
Yes.
spiral, and you kept going
Yeah.
deeper and deeper and deeper. And then when you
Yeah.
reached out to me, because we weren't able to really train outside that much, the first place I definitely worked with you on was nutrition and completely changing it to really clean it up, right? I mean, that was
Yeah.
the number one
Yeah.
thing. And you
Well,
also,
my first step is that I had to go to my annual medical
oh, that's
check.
right. Okay.
So by that time, when you go to the doctor office, the first thing they were doing were like a mental health questionnaire quiz, because it was mandatory for all doctors to check the mental health of the patients. So thanks that.
Yeah.
When I did the test, my diagnosis was that I was with depression in a high level, the anxiety also. And is when I realized something was wrong,
Yeah.
because I've never in my life experienced depression or anxiety or that stuff. So, and for me at least, well, I was always positive and great, happy with the life and everything. For me, when anybody told me I feel depressed or something like that, it was like, why? Why? What are you talking about?
Right.
Why
You had no
why why
concept of
why
that
you
feeling.
want to stay in bed all day? You know, that's impossible. And that happened to me. And when it happened and I was diagnosed with that, is when I realized, man, yes, it happens. And you don't understand why you can't just stand up. And it's like, you just don't wanna stand up from the bed. Just stay there. And that's when I with that test and with that level of depression is when I realized, okay, this is something I can't handle by myself.
You
and
not
and
just
that's
for
what.
me. You need help. You needed professional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's when I contacted. Well, in that appointment, the doctor gave me some pills for depression,
Right.
but I was like absolutely rejected. It was like, no, I'm not taking pills for that.
Yeah.
No way. Well, the doctor said, take the prescription and think about it. So when I went back home, is when I thought about you, and because you are always like my mentor for pills and all that stuff. And I said, I will text her and ask about what she thinks about this.
Yes.
And I remember I text you, this is happening to me. I got a prescription for depression pills. And you told me, well, sometimes they help. So if
They're
you
a
need it
tool.
now, just take it for a time, you know? And it's when we reconnect and you told me, start trying to go out, walk, do something. And
Yeah.
that's when I also contacted a psychologist. So I started a psychologist treatment and the sports. Yeah.
Coming back to movement and nutrition.
Movement. Yes.
Yeah, and it's really hard for people. I mean, I am not a proponent of the medical model in most situations because there's usually always a cause, a reason why we get depressed or we get sick, right? And our medical system, unfortunately, is not healthcare, it's sick care, and it's meant to keep you there so you spend a lot of money. So everybody in emergency situation, that's when I believe in the medical system so much. Like this is an emergency situation. You could have kept spiraling down, and who knows, maybe something bad could have happened, right? And I myself have been through my own journey with antidepressants and anti-anxiety medicine. But when I found triathlon and I started changing my diet, I've never had to go there again, right? although it's been challenging times lately, but I try to always think about my alternatives first. But sometimes taking the meds is a tool that helps you get to a hot, you're in a hole, and then you get to this level, and then you can start to remember what made me happy. What were the things that I love that make me happy? And unfortunately, the doctor would never tell you that nutrition has an effect on your mental health. But 100%, when you are eating, when you're drinking alcohol and when you're eating lots of sugar and processed food, your likelihood of being depressed is so high, because what happens is you get a blood sugar surge from the sugar, from the alcohol, from the carbohydrates, and then you come down. And when you come down, it's not a little bit down, you go way down. And what you do is you get on this emotional roller coaster and you feel out of control. And it's really, really, really important to make sure that you're eating good fat and good protein to help get you off of that roller coaster. And of course, avoid alcohol, avoid processed food, and avoid sugar as much as possible. Now, 80-20 is always there, but honestly, 100%, you're going to feel so much better. So I did remember suggesting you to eat like a keto diet. Do you remember me suggesting that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
We went keto.
Yes,
Yeah. And do you feel like that helped you?
yeah.
Keto?
Yes, a lot. So when we reconnect is when I started working with you and the psychologist. So the psychologist therapy helped me a lot in that moment. Because I got my, after speaking with you, I was still thinking what I'm gonna do, and one day I start feeling physically really bad, really really bad. Like I was shaking. My heart was like, I feel like I was dying. So I ended up in a hospital, and I got my first panic attack.
Oh, wow.
So physically, a panic attack is just something mental, because your body is working properly, everything is good, your heart is good, but you feel like you are gonna die. It's the worst sensation ever. So when I ended in the hospital, it was like, in that moment, it was like oh my God, I have to do something. This
Yeah.
is not working at all. So I started to work out again. It was another really 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 hard thing, because I was like, I don't know, like 40 pounds overweight. My clothes didn't fit on me. And uh, having my stop point at a half Ironman and retaking it without even able to walk a block in the street, because you can't breathe. It was hard, it's like, oh my God, I'm shit. So how can I build? And I was, Cindy, you suck. That's the only thing I had in my mind.
Right.
And I remember in telling you, because when I go back to the group, a lot of new people were there, even the coaches. I think it was Chuck, that
Yeah.
I didn't know them.
Yeah.
And when you introduced me to the group, you were like, oh, she's Cindy. She is one of my best swimmers. And you always present me like I am the best, and I am a great athlete. And I was like, I am not more that athlete. And you were, yes, you are. And I was like, no, I'm not. And you keep saying, yes, you are. And you will be back.
And you did.
And we did it together. Yeah, we did it together.
So proud of you. So proud. We're both crying. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
a tough time for you.
Sorry.
I just felt you so deeply, and we had this connection for so long. And I knew you would be back, and I knew it was just a process, that you just had to stay committed, and you had to stay committed. And you're such a warrior. Like that, your mom taught you really well, as a child. When you can reinforce that, movement in your body. I mean, we are meant to move every day, but our sedentary lifestyle can take over, and you start to make up excuses for not to go outside. And COVID was the best excuse ever, right? But you had it in you, and you kept reminding yourself when you would go to the pool or you would exercise how good you felt. And I just want to commend you so much for just accepting yourself how you were. You needed the meds. You reached out for help. You asked for help. So many people are afraid to ask for help, right? You asked for help. You did the work. You went to the psychologist and you talked about it. You came to class, even though you were embarrassed and even though you didn't feel like you were your former self, but you showed up, right? You showed up. And your consistency trumps any of my other athletes. You're probably one of the most consistent athletes I have, the most green on Training Peaks when the time comes, right? It's Cindy, right? So I just want to say how proud I am of you for just getting through that tough, tough, tough time. And it took some time. Did it take it was like a year, right?
Yeah, it was like we started it like at the beginning of 2021.
Yeah.
And yes, I started I started training. It was hard. It was frustrating when I want to wear my tri suit and it didn't even go up from my legs.
Right.
Then I was, oh my God. Well, but as you know, as I tell you, your support and your pushing, just do it, just do it, just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it, just do it.
Yeah, don't look at your
You are
time. Don't
yeah,
compare.
exactly. Don't look at your time. Don't expect to do a half Ironman now, but you will do it sometime. And that's how we start working. And I remember register for a sprint, and I was like, why would I do sprints? That's ridiculous. Oh, okay, okay, Ironman.
I know.
And I did a sprint, and of course with a terrible time, but I finished it, and I ran the complete course. I backed the complete course. I swam all the course at a very slow pace. It was the pace I was able to do that day, and was okay. I finished it, and from that point, I keep doing the sprints every month, and every month was a PR, a PR, a PR, and from there we start to beat it back again.
I love it. And you kept up with that other nutrition style and you lost the weight. Like you got skinny.
Oh
Like
yeah. I forgot about the keto. Yes, when I was like overweighted, you told me start by changing your nutrition, go back to clean,
yeah.
and try to avoid processed food or carbs, actual carbs. So I start to do the keto, which was mainly protein and fats. And I felt great. You start feeling great.
Yeah.
It's not just about, I don't know, I'm training and that's it. It's a lot, it's all what you are doing in parallel.
It's the whole package. And
It's the whole package.
I don't recommend keto for everybody. Let's be clear. And keto is an extreme diet, really meant for, in my opinion, like when you're not doing a lot of cardio. If you're doing sprints or less, you can get away with having a more fat adapted training program. But fat is a really awesome fuel source, right? So if you can train your body to burn fat, when you eat fat, you actually have more endurance. But there is a crossover point, and we'll get to that when we when Cindy came to me and she said, okay, I'm ready, I want to do an Ironman. I was like, okay, awesome. And we kind of didn't talk about nutrition, right? We just started training, right? And your hours started adding up during the week. You signed up for the half Ironman in Hawaii, right? And then tell me, like, when you came to me and you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired, right? You're like, I can't do my workout, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Once I felt recovered, and I was like doing amazing times. I was the best form. I mean, in weight and body fat in my life. I felt great, and I said I have to do something important, because I want to mark like before and after. I need something important in this part of my life. So it comes to my mind, it's time to go for the Ironman, because I already did 3 halves, and I said this is the moment, and I think I feel good for it. So we talked about it, and you told me I was like, oh, I'm thinking about doing, and you were like, are you thinking or are you doing the Ironman? And I was okay, commit. And I was, yes, I want to do it. So we start working to that. I think my first attempt, oh, that's the other problem. I think my immune system was very bad.
Yes.
So I registered for the full Ironman in Cozumel 2022.
Yeah.
But that year, even though I was recovering, I recovered my mental health, my stability. I was in good shape. My fitness, everything was back. My immune system was very bad.
Your hormones.
So, yeah. So I got COVID 3 times
Oof. Your
in 1 year.
immune system was very
Immune. Yeah.
got it.
So I got COVID 3 times, and that devastated me again because every time I got the illness, it's like everything come back to my mind, you know,
Oh, the negative
and
thought.
the negative thoughts, and I was again in the hole and in the all that stuff, and when I recover, COVID again, and when I recover, COVID again, and I was like, oh my god, that after the third time I got COVID, it's the time when because until that time I worked with you and I worked with a psychologist. It was no pills at all.
Good.
But after the third time I got COVID, that was my deepest point, I think, because I was like, hell, man. And that's the first time I saw a psychiatric, and that's when he said, you know what, it's the time you have to.
Yeah.
You have to start with this because my anxiety was very bad. The panic attacks were like a daily situation with me. So I was like, no, I don't want to be like that. And he said, just you have to do that.
Right.
And I remembering that's why my family is very important to me in all this process, because I remember when the doctor gave me the prescription, I said, I'm not taking pills.
Right.
No way. And my friend here, that is like my sister, the mother of my nieces, pushed me to do it. She said, there's no option.
Yeah.
It's or you take the pills, or I take you to a psychiatric clinic, and I will leave you there. Right. So I started the pills, and that's what I say. When it's a time, it's a time.
Yeah.
It's like if I don't know if you got the flu or you got a stomach issue. I know you are not good with pills, but you have to take medication.
Yeah.
You have to go when it's necessary, it's necessary. And the mind is another organ of your body. And if you get sick, you have to go to a doctor, and your doctor will send you pills.
Yeah, it's a tool in the toolbox. It's a tool in the toolbox to be used, but also taking action in other ways, continuing to figure out your mental health. Why do you spiral out? So that, I'm assuming you still saw the psychologist as well, did you? But I know your training continued, so I know you.
Oh yeah. No, well, now it has been already more than 1 year of treatment. Now I'm not taking the pills anymore. But it was a complete year with it, and now my experience is that if you have to do it, you have to do it. Right. There is no options. If you want to get better, first raise your hand, ask for help. The psychiatric is a doctor. Your brain is part of your body. If your brain needs medication, the psychiatric is the one that will give you. Don't refuse to see them. Now in my life, I think mental health is priority. Yeah. No mental health, no health at all.
Right.
Everything.
It affects every other thing in your life. So you got back to training after your lowest point, and that's when you really decided to commit to doing something big, right? Well, you'd already done,
Yes,
you were
yes.
gonna do the full Ironman, but you got so sick you couldn't. So you didn't give up the dream. You just changed the date, right?
Exactly. I remember the last time I got COVID was 1 or 2 weeks before Cosmo 70.3. And I had everything paid, the hotel, my mother was going to there. And so I said, okay, I will just go.
And you did the
I
swim.
remember I got COVID. I got COVID two weeks. I recovered from COVID 2 weeks before the race. And I told you, Erin, do you think I should? And you told me, well, how you feel? And I was, well, let me go out and try.
Right. And it was like,
I
whoa.
couldn't run. I couldn't ride. My legs were shit. And I was like, oh my God, how will I complete a 70.3 like this? No way.
Not worth it.
So
Not
I
worth
told you, I will go. I will enjoy the race, the weekend, because it was a group
Yeah, we
race.
were all
A
there.
lot of us were,
There.
yeah.
We had
So I
so
will
much fun,
just,
and you actually killed the swim. You had an amazing swim.
yeah, it was my PR. And I told you, I would do just a swim.
Yeah.
So I did a swim. And as it was the only part I would do, is like, I was like, I did my PR, like, I think 30 or 29 or something like that.
It was like 29 minutes, I think. Yeah, it was so fast. The current was with you guys, but like this year it wasn't. So you never know what you're going to get at that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
I
at
was
but at that point, it was like 2 months before the full Ironman.
yeah, you were still
And I
doing,
remember, yeah, I remember talking with you in Cozumel, and I told you, you know what? I don't want to be stressed about it. I will just move for next year. I'm not ready for it. And the day I do my Ironman, I want to enjoy it. You know,
you
I don't want to
you
suffer
don't
it.
want to suffer through it. You want to be ready and cross the finish line and feel amazing, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool.
So that's how the new journey started.
Right. So then this is 2023 and you signed up for the Hawaii half, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that was another big surprise because we really didn't understand how hilly it was, right?
Yes. 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 Yeah, because the problem with Hawaii, well, after once 2022 finished, I didn't get COVID anymore. I'm clean. We work a lot with the immune system as well. That's when I started introducing to me supplements and working with the immune system, holistic and vitamins and all the stuff. You need to have your body strong.
Yeah,
And that's another thing, is that it's my thoughts. A lot of people think an Ironman is like working out a lot, like a lot of cardio training. And I would say the training is important, but I would say nutrition is like 80% of the Ironman.
Yeah.
If you don't have the proper nutrition, you are fucked. It's no way you can train as hard as you want. You can do one marathon every day. If you don't have the proper nutrition, you won't complete the Ironman.
It's true. 100% true. And we really hadn't tweaked your nutrition back to having more carbohydrates, right? And so I remember you saying how tired you were, and I'm like, wait, we have to
that was a problem in Hawaii. Yes. Because my problem actually is like, I was so focused in the Ironman.
Yeah.
Then for me, Hawaii 70.3 is like, it's just a 70.3. I'm working for an Ironman. Right. And I think I didn't take it too serious. And I didn't concentrate. My focus was in Cozumel, November, Ironman. Yeah. And yes, I think it was a lack of nutrition for sure. I continued with the keto diet all the time. I didn't take the proper supplements, and of course, it was something that I learned from. I didn't take a look at the course as it is, and so I just read in the Ironman page is a rolling bike.
Mhm.
Guys, when you see rolling,
You were at camp that year, so
yeah,
we did train hills, we did train bridges, we did.
but
But I will
not.
tell you, you really didn't start focusing on the bike until after that race. Like you
Yes, yes,
really look
yes,
at your power numbers. It wasn't like
yeah,
important to you. And we were, Coach Holly and I, we were constantly trying to get you to hit the numbers on the bike, right? And you really didn't
yeah,
make it a priority. You were like, well, whatever, I can ride, 100 miles,
yes, yes,
whatever.
yeah,
But you really weren't doing the intervals, right? And
yes,
although we didn't know how hilly that race was, I do think that it really was your motivation to then get to work, because it's,
yes,
how long did that was your slowest half Ironman ever, right? It was 7, what was it?
yes. Was more than 7 hours. I don't
Yeah,
know. When I ended the bike at almost 4 hours, I was like, you know what?
right,
Just enjoy the rest of the race. Don't look at your numbers. Don't even think about it. This is just, you are still in Kona,
right.
you are in Hawaii. Just enjoy it as an
Yeah.
experience
And
and
you still
and as
crossed
a
the finish
learning for
line.
Ironman. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
still
And
crossed
I
the
was
finish line
strong.
jumping. You're a singer,
Yeah.
jump. Like the fact that you had your energy to do
Because
that.
I feel good. I was just wasn't preparing for the course
Yeah,
because of the hills, and in the run it was over grass.
tough run. Very,
It
very
was
tough
like,
run.
yeah,
It's a
okay.
slow race. It's a very, very slow race.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
pros know how to do it. It's one of the, can you imagine doing the full on that course? It's
No, no, no way.
tough. Yeah, it's tough. Well,
Yeah.
cool. So I do feel like after that race, we completely adjusted your nutrition and we added way more carbohydrates. Remember, we
Mm-hmm.
added that good carbohydrates, sweet potato, all starchy carbs, right, from real food.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never forget that, and perfect aminos, right? And some creatine. I remember you called me, you're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm on rocket fuel. Like it was so
Yeah, I remember you told me about, well, we have spoken about the perfect amino since I started with you 10 years ago. And I was like, because you always say take the 10 perfect aminos at once, and I
yeah,
was like, oh my God, how can I get that amount of pills at once,
right.
and I was always
Pushing.
didn't want to try it.
Yeah.
No, I won't do it. But the first time I did it, I remember I did it the first night, and the day after I had my yoga class, my power yoga in the morning, and I was like handstands, push-ups, like, oh my God, what happened to me? And
You
I
had
call
enough
you like,
protein.
Erin, Erin, that perfect aminos are amazing, or it's just my day. And you say, no, it's the perfect aminos. Well, I was like, oh my God, that day, my yoga class, I think my coach was like, what's happening to you? The handstands, all the inversions. I was feeling great.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
so that between the perfect aminos and the perfect aminos, what happened? We don't, most of the time, it's hard work to eat enough to train for an Ironman. You have to constantly be eating and fueling yourself to recover from your training and to fuel your training. And if you have other stress on top of that, you're also burning calories just thinking. So it's a job. Nutrition is a job every day anyway. If you want to build muscle, if you're doing long course racing, you need the proper amount of protein, fat, and carbohydrates, all three in combination that's right for you. And you have to figure out that combination. And we did have to play around a little bit by adding more carbohydrate back. And you even said, well, I'm gaining some weight. And I'm like, I don't care. I was like, I don't care that you gain 5 pounds. It doesn't matter, because you're going to have more power now to get the job done, to push the bike harder, to finish strong on the run. Right? So you were able to balance that out with the supplements, eating real whole food on a regular basis, and really committing to your recovery. That's the other thing I really want to commend you about, is you always really took the recovery week. Like I love when I see the Training Peaks, and during recovery week, you really did do less. You're not overdoing it and pushing your body beyond what it's capable of. And then you always have your yoga, which is awesome because that's great for mind, body, and breath, right? Your yoga is just such a great way to build up your chi, your internal energy, especially during your recovery week. So I really think that that is a part of your secret sauce to your success as far as getting to the Ironman, right?
Yes, yes, and also I recommend for people trying to do a hot race. I knew Cozumel was hot, and the Ironman, one of the challenges about other than the distance will be the heat. So that was very important for me and always in my mind. So I keep doing the hot yoga every day. So you always say to go to the sauna and try to do some exercises in there. For me, the hot yoga was everything.
Yeah.
I do it daily. And as you say, it's not only a workout or a heat adaptation workout, but also helps the mind and the breath.
Yeah.
It is, yeah,
Yeah. And
it's a
then
very important resource.
exactly. And so you also did your workouts in the middle of the day. So we talked about how you're not going to have to do the run in the middle of the day, but you're cycling. We on purpose, you would head out around 9 or 10 in the middle of the summer and into the fall to really get your mind around how you're going to feel on race day. Like you weren't going to let the heat be a factor in affecting your performance on race day, right?
Yes, that was also very important. Like everybody was like in summer, like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Why are you running at this time? Go run at 6 a.m. And I was like, no, I'm doing an Ironman in Cozumel, which is hot. And I prefer to suffer now and enjoy the race.
Yeah. And it worked.
And
It
yes,
totally
yes,
worked, you know? Okay,
yes,
so
absolutely.
let's talk about the actual race because your goal, you did have a time goal. So what was your time goal was sub 13. That was your big dream, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, as I always told you, I want to do an Ironman. My goal is obviously complete it, but enjoy it, finish strong, and I want to do it sub 13.
Yes.
I remember you, if I finish it in 12:59:59, I will be the most happy person in the world. I just want to see 12 in my final number.
Right. That was the big goal. So you
Yeah.
did the training to a T. I don't think we really had any setbacks in the training of those 6 months from Hawaii 70.3. And this is also when you actually started using your power meter, right?
Yes,
Started-
I start seriously. Yeah,
Yeah. You started understanding
I
the numbers, your numbers, testing. We tested and you did your workouts and you hit your numbers, right? You did your intervals, you did your recovery intervals, you did your intervals, and you started to get it. You were like, why am I so slow on the bike? Why can't I go any right? And finally, things started to click because you had the power numbers in front of you and you started to understand how it worked, right? Would you say that's true? I mean, it finally clicked.
yeah. Yes, yes. When I was back from Kona, I was like, okay, that was your experience, a lot of learnings. Now it is the time for Cozumel, full Ironman. You have goals, and now it's time to be serious. And not only paying attention to the numbers, but I remember in my swim with the gate and all the stuff that we
Technique.
work, it was amazing. Yeah, everything technique. Technique is all.
Yeah, we did
And
video for the run. We did the video. We actually, I don't know if Dennis tweaked your bike fit too, but just learning the power of
yes,
the bike. And
power
swim.
was very important.
So back in the day when I had like before COVID, we used to have like 30 people at the pool, remember? And you would always be the first one, right? You're so freaking fast in the pool. And then when you were training and I was looking at your numbers, I'm like, something is wrong. I'm like, Cindy, you're not hitting the speed that you used to hit before COVID. I'm like, something is wrong. It's got to be your technique. And that's when we figured out about the timing, right? So you were dropping your leading arm every single time you breathed. And when we fixed that, you got back to your 130 pace, right? I mean, that was a critical piece or component of you having a much, much faster swim. than and what you were capable of versus just doing the miles and the miles and the miles in the pool, but not really getting faster. And we do have to talk about Alligator Lighthouse because that was a big highlight. Yes, that was a big highlight on the way. So Cindy and I decided I was going to do it solo, but I decided I didn't want to do it solo. That's an 8-mile swim, 4 miles out to Alligator Lighthouse and 4 miles back. And I asked Cindy to be my partner, and I thought it would be great training for her. And we had just fixed her technique as far as not dropping the front arm. And we ended up having the most spectacular day. We got on the podium. We got 3rd place in our division, and we had a PR for me. I've done that race 8 times, and I had
second place.
we got 2nd place. That's right, because the other people
Yeah.
fins. The second
Use
place
fins.
before fins that we found out. So we actually got 2nd place. But I remember I was so excited because we broke my previous time with other people that I've done it with, 2-person team, by 30 minutes. It was so freaking awesome. So yeah, that definitely solidified your confidence in the water too, don't you think?
Yes, of course, because swimming is from the 3 sports, I think my best one. But open water swim is always like kind of stress for me because I don't know. I don't know how to explain, but I don't feel good. But once I hit the ocean and once I start swimming is when I got like, oh my God, this is good. But doing long distances in the ocean was kind of a feeling, a strange feeling for me. So that's why I told you I should do alligator to get confident in the water, you know.
Yeah, to challenge yourself and overcome those limiting beliefs about yourself. You killed it. We had a great day that day, and we're signing up for next year, and this year, and we're gonna get first
this year.
Yeah, 1st place.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about your race, because unfortunately, what happened on race day about the swim? Very sad situation in Cozumel.
Yes, yeah, but I will have to say, well, when I arrived in Cozumel, I found a group that did like a previous swim in the not in the course, but in close
nearby.
to it.
Yeah, nearby.
So I went to the practice, and the ocean was very brave and wavy.
Yeah, rough.
And the instructor said, you don't have to go if you don't want, but this is kind of the situation you will have in the race. So if you want to practice, you're free to go. And I said, of course I'm going, because if I'm racing in 2 days here, I need to feel it, you know. And when I go to the ocean, it was hard, but when I finished and I look my numbers, was like fast. You know, it was struggling because the ocean was like wavy,
right,
very hard, but the current was fast.
Yeah.
So I was like, that will be okay.
Yeah.
Just keep swimming, and that's it. Because in the full Ironman, it's just one direction.
Way. Yeah, it's just out.
Just one way. Yeah. So I was good. I feel confident. I'm good with this. The current will be with me all the way. I just from here, I feel good, and everything was good. So the race day, it was windy. All the days were windy, but it was windy. But Cozumel never in the life has canceled the swim, never. And everybody says, and the swim is always hard. You know, the swim is always as it is now, and they've never canceled. So cancellation was not even an option.
Right. You didn't
nobody. So
nobody
yeah,
thought.
that was not an option. There was not an option. So I woke up, I went to the race, I looked at the ocean. It was awesome for me. It was good. Everything will be good. Everything is okay. I left my my things in the bike, and then I go to the start point for the swim because it's in another place, not in transition.
Right.
So we went to there, and we were waiting. They start to delay the start, so everybody was like kind of getting anxious. And another thing there was the nutrition and hydration. I told you I know it will be a hard day, a hot day, so hydration is very important. So I got my bottle with electrolytes, with perfect amino electrolytes. So I was drinking. But everybody go to the start point thinking about 30 minutes waiting, 1 hour waiting. That's it, you know? And then it was supposed to start at 7. Then they put back to 7:30, then to 8, then to 8:30. I remember the last time they allowed the pros to go to the start point. Everything was okay, just delayed, you know. Then there was no start. The pros were there, and nobody knows what was happening. Everybody, there were no more hydration outside. Everything was out.
Right.
No nutrition. The people start getting anxious because you don't know what's going on.
Right.
You know, and then everybody saw the pros coming back, and they announced they canceled it. So it was like 2 hours under the sun in concrete. You know, no shoes, no nothing. You were just ready to go to swim.
Right.
So
Oh my
when
God,
they say it is canceled, yeah, because the start point is not in transition.
no,
So
it's like a half a mile up the
when
road.
when they announced the race were canceled, everybody had to go to the buses to be drove back to the start point. Everybody was like running over the concrete, no shoes,
Right.
the sun. I think they canceled the swim, but what we did all
It's
the
much
time
harder.
was
Much harder.
it's much harder than the swim. Yes, of course it is.
Yeah.
So by that time, everybody was like, "Oh my God, this fuck! Why they cancel the swim? The ocean is always like this." Everybody was like negative.
Right.
And for me, it was like, you know what? There is no swim. That's it. Why you lose your energy thinking about why, and just go to the next point, you know, concentrate in your bike.
Yeah.
So then we
Get on it and
started the
go.
bike. Yeah, let it go. So we started the bike, and at least for me, the weather was awesome. It was hot but fresh. I was expecting more heat, and everything was perfect. It was so, I don't know. I never thought about the distance. You know, I never had like in my mind it is like 112 miles or a marathon. It was for me 3 loops in the bike, 3 loops in the run. That's
Right.
it. I didn't think about numbers in miles.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like another long ride. I enjoy. I think my main goal that was like enjoy the race. I really enjoy it.
You achieved
You
it.
know,
Achieved it.
yeah.
Yeah.
When I finished the race, my nieces were there, and they told me, you know what, Cindy, you should receive the award for the happiest person in the course, because everybody was suffering with face of I'm dying, and you were so happy, so happy. And yes, I was, you know, I enjoy every step. I remember you the day before, you told me you might go through times where you say why I'm doing this,
Yeah.
or you can get tired, or you know. And I
Yeah.
never got to that situation. For me, it
Awesome.
was like, oh my God, I'm doing an Ironman, you know, I am here and I am enjoying it. I'm not tired. I don't feel the heat. I don't feel bad. I'm good.
Yeah.
And I
You're
enjoy
ready.
it.
I
Yeah.
mean, you put in the work. You put in the work. You had 500-mile rides. You did the 20-miler on the run. You did all that stuff in the conditions that you were expecting on race day, and you didn't let anything affect that moment. And I truly believe it's because of how far you had come from your lowest point that you felt so alive. Would you say that's true? You just felt so alive
Yes.
in your body and
Yes.
present
Yes.
in the moment.
Yes.
You love Cozumel, like
Absolutely.
you love that environment. You love the
Yeah.
ocean, color of the ocean, and the wind and the island feel. Like you love that, right? I feel like
Yes.
all fed into
And,
that.
and I know, well, the people that has done like long courses, it's like you spend a whole day just with yourself. It's just you and your race.
Yeah.
And this is the moment when, at least for me, I connected so much with me. And I was like, okay, everything happened in this life for a reason. And you were deep, and you were bad, and you see the darkness, and you were so bad, and now you are here, you're strong. Look what a beautiful day. The bike, you are enjoying it, your family's here, the kids were there, everybody was like happy to see me recovered. And it was an amazing day, and I enjoy every step. And it was like I think I can't describe the feeling I got that day. But when my nieces told me about the award for the happiest person, I was like, I really enjoy it. I it was the perfect closing of a cycle.
Would you say
Yeah.
it was full circle?
Yes, complete. A complete full circle.
I couldn't resist the full circle. But yeah, like I just want to say, how proud I am. The whole group is proud of you. We also agree with your nieces that you are such a positive inspiration to the tribe. And you always have something kind to say, and you always come out with a workout, no matter what the workout is, how it goes, it's a positive thing for you. And I just want to say that you're such a bright light. And I'm so happy that you found your light again. And I'm happy that we could be a part of it and be able to witness it, because you are such an inspiration to all of us. And I'm just so super proud of you. You did it. You're finally an Ironman. Woohoo!
Yeah, woohoo. Yes, I did it. I think it's a result of a lot of people with me, the group, you, my family, the support, everything, and it's about it. It's what I want to transmit to people and let them know is that, based on my experience, is absolutely normal to go dark, to go deep, to not being able to see the light, to get through the day when you don't want to wake up from your bed. And it's okay. Not always your life will be the happiest place, but at least as you are alive, that's all what you need. And even when you feel like nothing has sense, just raise your hand and ask for help. There is a lot of people around you that can help. And when you are in that place where everything is dark, you can't see the light, even though the light is there. Just raise your hand and look for help, and everything will be back to normal, for sure. And
Yeah.
I want to say to people, I went through that. I learned a lot. I am okay now. I'm happy. I am in peace mentally and physically. I'm grateful for that. And because of all the process I've been through, I am open to anybody that want to talk, that want to reach me out. I am for everybody, always. And I'm trying to go with that message. Just enjoy life. Being alive is all what you need.
Thank you so much for sharing, Cindy. I appreciate you so much. And it takes a lot of vulnerability to share your story and talk about the darkness, but without the darkness, we don't appreciate the light. And
The light, yes.
I had my own struggles, and I just really, really admire your vulnerability and your willingness to share your process. And I'm hoping that if someone else is struggling out there, to please reach out for help. And know that movement and maybe triathlon is part of your journey, right? Triathlon for me.
Well, sport has been always my life. It's my place, my moment. And yesterday I was listening to a podcast, and a lady said that the sport is my psychiatric, and that's true. That when you are committed to sport, when you have movement in your life, any kind of movement, sport is a time where you can connect, and it generates endorphins. Is how you say, the sport generates endorphins.
Mm-hmm. Feel good hormone.
And that baby, yes, you can be good for free.
Exactly. And it's good to feel good, right? And when you release those hormones
Mhm.
on a daily basis, it becomes a habit. It becomes something that you can't live without. And we're meant to move, you guys. So get out there, enjoy this amazing, beautiful weather. And so I do have to ask the question, Cindy, what's next? Because that's always my question to everybody. Recovered. You took some time away from the sport over the holidays and you recovered, but what are your next goals? What's coming up?
Well, my next goal is another thought I always have in my mind, and is when you wish something with your heart, all the universe will work for make it true for you.
Yes.
So I really, from we start training back 10 years ago, I've done the Miami Marathon every year. And last year, I don't know why I was so focused in Ironman. I didn't talk about the registration for the race. And one day, I think in September, October, the race was sold out. And I was like, oh no, that's my always first goal of the year. No way. And I started, but I had the feeling in my heart that I would do it. So you can ask Oli. I always feel like I'm doing it, and I was sure I did it. I was doing it. And thanks God, my dear friend Monica reached out to me a couple of days ago, and she told me, you know what, I've been sick, and I won't be able to do it. You want to take my registration? I was like, yes, the universe, no, I have to do this, and I was like, oh my God, Monica, you're my angel. And
Yay.
so my closest one is that one. I'm
Okay,
doing the half marathon, then I'm doing Swim Miami 5K for the first time.
cool.
Then I'm doing the alligator swim with you. And then I want to do at least two 70.3s this year. So I'm still thinking about the destination and the budget, but that will be my main races this year.
Okay, cool. And don't forget, you did get on the podium on your way to Ironman. You got on the podium for the international distance on Key Biscayne, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't
Yes.
count that. Can't discount that. So you got to remember fast before long. So let's throw in a couple sprints, a couple
Yes.
Olympics as well. All
Yes,
right, but
for
let me
sure.
know. Obviously, let me know the main 70.3, the two 70.3s you want to do. I have a
Cozumel
couple.
for sure. Cozumel for sure.
Cozumel for sure. That's your favorite,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I never miss it.
All right, awesome. All right, well, thank you so much, Cindy. Truly appreciate you, love you as my friend, and thank you so much for trusting me and my process and communicating, right? Because we wouldn't work so well together if you didn't share with me the truth about what was going on. And so thank you for allowing me to be there for you. You are an inspiration to me and everybody, and I'm so, so, so happy about your success.
Thanks, Erin. Thank you. I will be always very thankful for you, for your help, for your support, for your trusting in me, for pushing me back, and for helping me trust on myself again. I will never forget that. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'm wishing you well. Bye, you guys. Have a great weekend.
Bye.